I'm going to go ahead and move back here and get my blanket ready because I'm going to be using a blanket during today's practice to cushion my tender knees. And I welcome you to grab a blanket or towel or anything else that might support your body if you also have tender knees. And for today's class, we're going to get started in a seated position. So, finding a comfortable seat for yourself and your body this morning. I sometimes like to take my blanket and use it to help prop my hips up a little bit for added comfort. But of course, take care of yourself, please, and find the posture that feels good for your body. I also would love to just let you know that you are welcome to turn your video off if that feels more supportive, comfortable for your practice. Totally up to you. I will keep my video on for demonstration purposes, but you are by no means required to have the video on. So feel free to support yourself in the way that feels best for class today. Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and get started. So settling into our seats, taking a deep breath in, and letting it go. Let's do that one more time. Breathing deeply in and exhaling fully, letting something go, something that's ready to be released, recycled, and allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Feeling the points of contact between your body and the mat, the earth. Finding a sense of grounding here in this moment. Feeling the weight of your body heavy on the mat, fully supported, held up by the earth. Feeling into the hands, feeling the hands from the inside out. Noticing any sensations of pulsing, tingling, energy flow. Sensing into the feet. Feeling the feet from the inside out. Sensing the dance of aliveness, the vital life force energy in the feet. Softening the brow, softening the jaw, dropping the shoulders down and back, allowing the next breath to be received in a softening belly. And now this one. Taking a moment to set your intention for today's practice. Perhaps the intention to be fully present for the dance of that vital life force energy in the body as we move from posture to posture. And the invitation for this class is to allow the breath to be your guide, being present with the breath through each posture and allowing the breath to be easy, finding that balance between ease and effort rather than pushing past our edge. And if at any time during today's practice you find that you're feeling physical discomfort or pain, or that your nervous system is being particularly activated, that you're losing touch with that breath, I invite you to back away from the edge and perhaps even return to a safe home base of the breath, perhaps of a seated posture like this one, perhaps even taking Shavasana, lying on the back if you need a little rest, a little break. And now taking one more deep breath in and letting it go. And let's begin our asana practice for the day. So gently dropping chin to the chest and taking a few gentle shoulder roll or neck rolls from side to side, beginning to awaken that neck, working out any snap, crackle, pops we have this morning. And coming back through center, dropping left ear to left shoulder, perhaps walking the right fingertips out to the side. You might even take a few turns of the head here, opening into that side neck. And coming back through center, dropping right ear now to right shoulder, walking those left fingertips out. And perhaps taking a few turns of the head on this side as well. Opening up through that sticky side neck. And coming back through center, rolling out the shoulders, making it as big or as small as feels good for your body. And reversing directions. And rolling out the wrists, preparing them a bit as well. You might even clasp the hands together and make a little figure 8 with those wrists to really loosen up through that joint. And reverse directions. And releasing the wrist opener. Let's move into seated bound angle. So, bringing the feet out in front to form a diamond. This diamond can be as big or as small as feels good for your body. I like kind of a big diamond, especially when my hips are feeling particularly tight. Drawing the spine up long. And if it feels good, you might gently begin hinging forward at the hips, drawing the heart toward the toes, keeping that spine long, gazing out in front of the feet. Breathing into those hips here. Perhaps even walking the hands out beyond the feet and finding a little rounded spine for just a moment. Relaxing into the posture. And then walking hands over to one side, opening up through the side body. And coming through center and over to the other side as well. And coming back through center, drawing the spine back up long and stretching the feet in front of us for staff pose. So you might like drawing the spine up long here with hands on the thighs. I sometimes like to place my hands on the mat on either side of my hips to just really give myself a little traction here in the spine. With my legs active, my spine active, awakening through that spine a little bit here. And now I'm going to place my hands on the thighs, and I'm going to do a little bit of a cat-cow stretch here in the seated position. So rolling my shoulders up and back, I'm opening my chest toward the sky and reaching forward. I'm arching through the spine, tucking my chin, inhaling, opening the heart, and exhaling, arching through the spine. Moving through this motion just a few times. Before returning to center. And now I invite you to take the right hand to the outside of, the left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Place that right hand behind and just take a very gentle twist looking over your right shoulder. It actually doesn't matter which side you start on. And coming back through center, let's twist to the left. So right hand to the outside of the left thigh, looking over that left shoulder, just getting a little stretch, a little opening through the spine in this twist. And coming back through center, we will move into a little head to knee pose here. So bringing the right leg, or whichever leg you'd like to start with, out to the side and tucking that left leg in. You can tuck it in quite tight. It can be a little bit farther out. You might also prop the knee with a blanket or a block, whatever feels good for your body today. Once you've found this posture, this position, we're going to rotate our torso so that the heart is facing towards the toes and begin walking the hands toward the feet. So you might end up with hands on the thigh, on the shin, on the ankle, perhaps hands around the foot. Drawing the heart toward the knee, drawing the forehead toward the ankle, long spine here. And walking back up, I'm going to place my left hand on the mat and sweep my right arm up and over for a nice side body opener here. And now moving into revolved head to knee, placing hand on the calf, the ankle, perhaps on the mat, and sweeping left arm up and over, opening my heart, looking up at the sky, finding a nice opening in my left side body here. And now we're going to do a little bit of a flow between sides, continuing to open the side body. So sweeping right arm up and over, looking up toward the sky, and now sweeping left arm up and over, looking toward the sky. Moving through this motion a few times with your breath, finding movement in the spine. And this time, when I sweep my right arm up and over, I'm going to go for a rock star, lifting my hips off the mat and really reaching through that side body before bringing hips down to the mat and reaching up and over. That's just an option if that feels good for you today. Definitely no pressure to move beyond any edge that you're finding for yourself. Last time, coming back to center, stretching the left leg long. I'm going to step my right foot to the outside of my left leg. So it's here next to my knee, next to my thigh. Drawing the spine up long. You might stay here, or you might wrap that left arm around the right knee or grasp at the knee and give yourself a little hug as you twist gently, looking over that right shoulder. And releasing this posture, stretching both legs out in front, perhaps giving them a little bit of a shake. Just feeling the body here, feeling the difference between the sides. And now we'll take that flow on the second side. So stretching left leg out to the side now and tucking the right leg in for head to knee pose. And again, you might have your leg quite wide. You might prop this right knee with a block or a blanket. Drawing the spine up long, turning to face the heart toward that left foot, and then beginning to hinge forward at the hips, finding your edge with this posture. Breathing deeply into the back of the leg, the side body here. And now sweeping left arm up and over, opening through that left side body. Before reaching left hand for the calf, ankle, perhaps the floor, and reaching right arm up and over, revolving the heart toward the sky, looking up toward the sky. Finding a nice opening in that right side body here. I know for me, this side body gets really, really sticky. It feels so good to open it up. And inhaling, let's flow a little bit through these movements. So sweeping left arm up and over. And now sweeping right arm up and over, back toward revolved head to knee. Sweeping left arm up and over. And right arm up and over. And this time I'm going to take that rock star on this side, lifting my hips up to the sky before coming back down toward that revolved head to knee. And one last time, lifting the hips and finding revolved head to knee one last time. Before sitting up, spine long, reaching that right leg out in front of me now, stepping my left foot to the outside of the right leg, the right knee, right thigh, drawing the spine up long, and then taking either right hand to the left knee or hugging that knee with my right arm. Left fingertips come to the ground behind me, and I look gently over my left shoulder for a nice twist here. And coming back through center, reaching those legs long, maybe giving them a little shake before moving on to our hands and knees for our tabletop series. And this is where I'm going to bust out my blanket to pad these tender knees. Before finding tabletop position on all fours, hands under my shoulders, knees under my hips, spine is long, navel's pulled in to the spine, protecting my low back. Taking a moment, sensing into the energetic flow in my body in this moment. And let's take a few cat cows from here. So, inhaling, tipping the hip bones up, opening heart to the sky, looking up. And exhaling, arching the spine, tucking the tail, tucking the chin for cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling, cat. Inhaling, cow. And exhaling, cat. Inhaling, cow. You might start to make this more of a wave than a traditional cat-cow, just moving your body intuitively in a way that feels good. Perhaps taking some side body stretches, looking over the shoulder at each hip. Feeling into your body this morning. And coming back to table. Pausing here for a breath. Stepping now the right toes long on the mat behind you, and then crossing those right toes over the left calf so that you can turn over your left shoulder to look at your right toes and continue opening through the side body here. And coming back through center, stepping now left toes back, crossing those left toes over the right shin, turning to look over your right shoulder at those left toes, opening up through the side body. Before returning to table. And now taking a moment to sit my hips back into child's pose, only going back as far as feels good. You can always place a blanket, a block, a pillow, bolster underneath the seat to give yourself a little bit of elevation and support for the hips. Bringing the forehead toward the mat, reaching the fingertips forward. Breathing into the hips and the low back, sacroiliac area, this area that gets so crunchy for so many of us. And coming back through table. Stepping now, right toes back behind you on the mat. And inhaling left fingertips forward. You could stay here, or you might lift those right toes off the mat for balancing table. This is an excellent option. And if you feel like getting a little flow in here, you can always do a little cat-cow spine in your balancing table. Just a few little dynamic movements here, if that feels good, before returning to table. Stepping left toes back now. Inhaling, right arm up, right fingertips reach forward. Perhaps you stay here, perhaps you float those left toes off the mat. Core is engaged, glutes are engaged. Perhaps staying here or doing a little cat-cow flow in this balancing table. Just getting that dynamic movement in for the spine before making our way back to table. Pausing for a moment. Noticing the internal state of the body. Reconnecting with the breath. Inhaling, sweeping right arm up and threading the needle. Right arm comes behind the left wrist, bringing your right shoulder and ear to or toward the mat. Perhaps walking those left fingertips forward, finding opening in this right shoulder. And now placing left hand under left shoulder, sweeping right arm up. Let's flow through that movement just a couple of times. So sweeping the right arm through, threading the needle, inhaling, sweeping the arm up, exhaling, threading the needle, and inhaling, sweeping the right arm up before coming back to table. And we'll take that on the other side. Inhaling, left arm up to the sky, and threading the needle. Left arm comes behind right wrist, right shoulder, right ear, to or toward the mat. Walking those right fingertips forward. Placing right hand underneath the right shoulder. Pressing back up to table, sweeping left arm up. And sweeping it back through, threading that needle. Inhaling, sweeping left arm up. And exhaling, threading that needle once more. Before sweeping the right arm up and returning to table. And now I'm going to go ahead and move my blanket. And I'm going to walk my hands forward about one palm print to find a modified plank here on my knees. So, arms are strong, core is engaged, legs are engaged. And then gently, slowly lowering down to the belly, pressing all 10 toes into the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. And on an inhale, lifting the chest off the floor and exhaling back to the mat. Inhaling to cobra, exhaling to the mat. And once more, inhaling to cobra and exhaling to the mat. And now I'm going to reach my arms out wide like a T. I'm going to bend my left knee and I'm going to turn my hips, bringing my left foot to the floor or the mat on the outside of my right leg for scorpion. Finding some opening in the hip here. Coming back through center, reaching those arms long, bending the right knee, turning to bring that right foot to the floor on the outside of my mat, outside of my left leg. And coming back through center, let's flow through our scorpion from side to side a few times. So you could bend both your knees here if you wanted to, totally up to you. And on your own time, opening to the left, coming back through center, opening to the right, coming back through center, really getting some movement in these hips, awakening the low back, creating space here, before finally coming back to center, resting on the belly, reaching arms behind you to either side of the body, taking a deep breath in, letting it go, and on the next inhale, lifting feet, head, chest, and arms off the mat for locust, strengthening through the back body. And releasing. Bringing hands underneath the shoulders and pressing back up to plank, whether that is a modified plank for you on the knees or whether you would like to be on your toes. Finding what your body is asking for this morning and honoring that. Engagement through the thighs, through the core. And on your next exhale, sending hips to the sky for downward facing dog. You might take some movement here, bending the knees, perhaps taking some big, deep knee bends, and then settling into a downward dog for a few breaths. If this does not feel good for your body, you can always take table or even child's pose as an option instead of downward facing dog. Honoring your body where it is today. And now, inhaling, sweeping right leg up and letting that hip open. Coming back through three-legged dog and back to downward facing dog. Inhaling, sweeping left leg up and back, opening through that hip, back through three-legged dog, and downward facing dog. And let's flow through that just a few times, opening through the hips on the right, and opening through the hips on the left. One last time, opening through the hips on the right, and on the left. Back through downward facing dog. Coming back to plank, dropping both knees to the mat. Stepping right foot forward between the hands, helping yourself out, taking as many steps as it takes to get there, no worries. And taking a few big bends in that front knee. Continuing to lubricate the joints and allowing the hips to fall heavy here in your low lunge. Breathing into the hips. And on the next exhale, sitting hips back for half split. You might come up high here or stay low, whatever feels good. This is all about staying with your breath, finding your edge, honoring your body, and coming back into that low lunge. Hips are heavy. Sweeping right arm up and open, looking up toward the sky for a twist. And bringing right hand back to the mat. Stepping that right foot back. Taking a moment here to pause and table. Noticing the difference from side to side. And then stepping the left foot forward, helping yourself out, taking as many steps as it takes. Bending and straightening that front knee a few times. Before allowing the hips to be heavy. Breathing into those hips. And on the next exhale, sitting the hips back for half split. You might come up. Give yourself a little bit of extra space there if your hamstring is feeling particularly tight. I know mine is on this side today. And then returning to low lunge, planting the right hand on the mat and sweeping the left arm up and open, gazing up toward the sky. And bringing both hands back to the mat. Stepping now, left foot to meet the right foot to meet the left foot at the front of the mat in a forward fold, grasping opposite elbows, taking a nice ragdoll stretch here, finding some traction in the spine, letting it be long, and then slowly, gently rolling up to stand, one vertebra at a time, finding ourselves in mountain pose. So feet can be hip width apart, or you might bring big toes to touch with heels slightly apart. It's all about your body and what feels good for you. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go, grounding down through all four corners of the toes, of the feet, of the heels. Inhaling, sweeping arms up and grasping left wrist with the right hand and pulling up and over for a nice half moon. Getting that nice side body opener here. We're going to come through center, grasp the right wrist with the left hand, and bring that up and over for half moon on the other side. And come back through center. Inhaling here, exhaling. Inhaling, sweeping arms up, looking up. Exhaling, bowing forward, long flat spine, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, stepping the left foot back, dropping to the left knee. Inhaling to crescent. Exhaling, hands to the mat. Stepping back into plank, either modified or on the toes. And lifting hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Or taking a child's pose here, if that feels better. Sweeping left leg up and stepping that foot forward, dropping to the right knee now. Inhaling to crescent. Exhaling, hands to the mat. Stepping forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back to mountain. Reach up, look up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step right foot back, drop to the right knee. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale to plank, and exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg up. Exhale, stepping right foot through, dropping to the left knee. Inhale, crescent. And exhale, hands to the mat. Stepping forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back to mountain. Exhale, hands to the heart. Taking a breath here in mountain, perhaps closing the eyes. Sensing into the body, the breath, reconnecting with the self. Inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhaling, bowing, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step left foot back, drop to the left knee. Inhale to crescent. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step those left toes through, drop to the right knee. Inhale, sweep arms up to the sky, crescent. Exhale, hands to the mat. Finding a forward fold here at the top of the mat before inhaling to a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, and inhale to mountain. Reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step right toes back, drop to the right knee. Inhale to crescent. Exhale, hands to the mat. Stepping back to plank before exhaling, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Inhaling that right leg up to the sky, stepping right toes forward, dropping to the right knee. Inhaling to crescent. Exhaling, hands to the mat, stepping forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, coming back to mountain pose. At the top of the mat, hands to heart. taking a moment to reconnect with the breath, feeling the flow of energy in the body, noticing any areas of tightness or comfort, perhaps discomfort, just checking in with yourself here. And we have one more little flow in the standing series before we move back to the floor. So, inhaling, arms up to the sky, and left leg also lifts for one-legged mountain. Exhale and step back into crescent. And you want to have your feet sort of wide here, thinking train tracks and not a tightrope. Enjoying the front hip in this crescent. Exhaling, bringing hands to the heart. And now we'll take a revolved crescent. So you have a couple of options here. You can either bring left hand to the outside of the right thigh and sweep that right arm back, looking over your shoulder. Or if you would like to go more deep into that twist, hands to the heart and left elbow comes to the outside of the right knee. And coming back through crescent, pivoting the back heel down, sinking into that front leg for warrior two, reaching right fingers forward, left fingers back. Flipping that front palm, reaching a bit forward and sweeping the right arm up and back. Left hand can touch the left thigh for reverse warrior. And returning to warrior two, sweeping arms up and squaring hips to the top of the mat for one, sinking again into that front leg. And now sweeping arms down and back for devotional warrior. Inhaling, arms up, and maybe even cactusing the arms, opening the heart here. Inhaling, arms to the sky. Exhaling, devotional warrior. Inhaling, warrior one, perhaps giving that cactus stretch, and exhaling through devotional warrior. And now, placing hands on the mat on either side of your right foot, and then turning to face the long edge of your mat. Turning your toes, your feet parallel, or perhaps your toes inward just a little bit for wide-legged forward fold here. So finding a nice flat spine, perhaps inhaling halfway to find that length, and then exhaling and finding your wide-legged forward fold. You can always grasp the outside of the calves or the feet for a little additional depth if that is what your body is asking for here. Placing now left hand on the mat underneath your heart, sweeping right arm up and open. And placing right hand on the mat underneath your heart now, sweeping left hand up for that nice stretch, twist, and wide-legged forward fold. Coming back to center, rolling up one vertebra at a time until you reach up and out into star, taking up lots of space. Bringing hands to touch at the heart, sitting down into the hips, perhaps even bringing hands to the knees and giving yourself a little bit of a twisting flow here. And sweeping arms up, straightening the legs for five-pointed star before turning all 10 toes toward the front of the mat for warrior two and stepping forward into mountain. Pausing here, checking in with the breath, checking in with the body. Shifting weight into the left foot now. Inhaling, arms up, right leg up, and stepping that right leg back for crescent. Taking a nice wide crescent here. And now, taking your revolved crescent, so maybe bringing right hand to the outside of the left thigh and sweeping that left arm back, looking back at the fingertips, or perhaps bringing hands to the heart and bringing the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. And sweeping arms up for crescent before pivoting the back heel down, sinking into the front knee, reaching right fingers back, left fingers forward for warrior two. Flipping that front palm, reaching up and over, finding reverse warrior here. And coming back through warrior two, pivoting your back heel just a bit so that you can square, hips toward the front of the mat, sweeping those arms up for warrior one. And then sweeping arms down and back for devotional warrior. Coming back through warrior one, perhaps practicing those arms. Extra heart opener here. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling through devotional warrior. Inhaling, arms up. Maybe get a little cactus arms going. And last time, sweeping arms down and back for devotional warrior. Before bringing hands to the mat, turning to face the left or right side of your mat, whichever direction you're currently facing is perfect. Finding that wide leg forward fold. And this time, you might try grasping opposite elbows or grasping hands behind the back for an extra heart opener. Releasing hands to the mat, placing the right hand on underneath the heart, sweeping left arm up and open, coming back through center, placing left hand on the heart, and sweeping right arm up and open. And coming back into your wide-legged forward fold before rolling up one vertebra at a time, expanding into five-pointed star, toes point out, hands come to touch at the heart, sinking into the hips, perhaps giving yourself that side-to-side twist here with hands on the thighs. Before coming through center, expanding back through five-pointed star, pivoting all 10 toes toward the front of the mat, sinking back into warrior two, and stepping to the front of the mat, hands to the heart, eyes closed for just a moment, checking in with the breath, checking in with the body. feeling the aliveness in the fingers, the chest, the belly, the pelvis, the toes. And one last time, sweeping arms up for mountain pose and exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, and exhale, step back to table. And now I invite you to walk up onto your knees here for just a moment, sweeping the arms up, and then turning to reach to or toward your heels. You might tuck your toes under here on the right side, looking over that right shoulder, perhaps pressing the pelvis forward just a bit, and inhaling through center, exhaling, dropping the left fingertips to or toward the left heel, looking back over that left shoulder, and inhaling, arms up, and now perhaps reaching both hands for the low back, drawing the chest up, and giving yourself a very gentle heart opener here in a modified camel before coming back to hands and knees, bringing the knees wide as the mat, sitting hips back for child's pose. Just a couple breaths here. Last child's pose of the class. Breathing deeply into those hips. And then pressing up and finding your way onto your back. And once you're on your back, drawing both knees into the chest, perhaps giving them a little hug, rocking back and forth, side to side. Grasping now the right knee and stretching left leg long on the mat for when we're leaving pose. Bringing now left hand to the outside of that right knee, bringing it across the body for a nice little twist. Twists help us neutralize the spine after the work that we've done in our class today. And drawing that knee back across, drawing both knees into the chest, reaching now right leg long on the mat, drawing that left knee in to or towards the armpit. Taking now right hand to the outside of the left knee and bringing that left knee across the body for a nice twist. Drawing that left knee back to the left side of the body, drawing the right knee into the chest as well. Dropping both feet, to the mat. And now taking the right ankle in front of the left knee for figure four or reclined pigeon. This might be enough of a stretch for you, or you might bring that entire shape toward your chest, grasping either behind the left hamstring, or around the left calf, avoiding the knee. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on that knee joint. And now sliding those knees together if that feels good. And then twisting once more, letting the knees drop to the left. If that's too much of a twist, just bring your knees to stack on top of one another. And unwinding, coming back through center, Placing right foot on the mat, left ankle on your right knee for reclined pigeon on the second side, drawing that entire shape toward your chest, really opening up through that left hip one final time, breathing into the hip, and then dropping those knees to the right for a nice twist. Last twist. Coming back through center, drawing knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice little hug before expanding it all out on the mat, finding your Shavasana. Arms relaxed beside the body, feet fall open, returning to your natural breathing, imagining that with each exhale, you were melting into your mat as you allow the yoga to melt into you, to integrate into your nervous system, your cells, your subtle bodies, relaxing the brow, softening the jaw, softening the heart, softening the belly, softening the hips, becoming aware of the subtle movements of the vital life force energy coursing through your body. Noticing what your vital life force energy feels like and what it invites you to do for your sweet self today. Thank you, body. I am so grateful for you, carrying me through this class, through this day, and through this life. Without question, always here for me. Taking just a moment to allow your practice to settle in. My favorite yoga teacher often says that this is the posture in which all the work of yoga happens. And now, taking a deep breath in, letting it go, beginning to reawaken through the fingers and the toes, maybe taking a nice long stretch on your mat, rolling over to your favorite side, pausing here, savoring this transition, this liminal space, before using hands to press yourself up to seated. Keeping eyes closed or softly open, checking in with yourself after this practice, noticing if there's anything that your body, your soul is asking for today. Rest, play, sensuality, just noticing the invitation. Thank you so much for joining me for class this morning. I appreciate you offering gratitude to your breath and your body. Thank you. Hope to see you next month.